Thank you for inviting me to talk about a great new book called Defining You: How Smart Professionals Craft the Answers to Who Are You, What Do You Do, and How Can You Help Me? I think the best way to give you a flavor for this book is to tell you a story of a smart professional named Rowena. Rowena was in higher education, and I met her at Quinnipiac University in Connecticut, where she was the Associate Professor of Economics and the co-founder of the Center for Women and Business. You see, Rowena had a passion for elevating women and female leadership in corporations, businesses, and organizations. Now, one day, Rowena gets this amazing phone call, and perhaps you have had a phone call like this. It's from an executive recruiter. Who knows how they got her name, but the executive recruiter is calling her with the possible job of being a dean of a school of business at a major university in upstate New York. Now, remind you, she was just an associate professor. Normally, you would have to become an assistant dean and then a dean and years in between. So this was like leapfrogging. And she started to really want that job. But the recruiter had to be pretty honest with her. Rowena, she said, you know, this really is a long shot. I mean, the other candidates, they have much more experience. They've done the deanships. I mean, but we like you. And you've come highly recommended, so we're going to give you a shot. So this started to build a little anxiety for Rowena. And not to mention, the recruiter also told her one other important piece of information, as hard as it was to hear. She said, you kind of look young for the job. What's this, like age bias, right? But go to LinkedIn, her LinkedIn profile, and what do you see when you take a look at this professional? You see someone who looks very young. And let's face it, for a woman, we're all trying to have that, but when you're trying to advance your career, sometimes looking young can get in your way. Now, there was another thing that was getting in her way. It was her inability to talk about herself, to position herself, to answer those interview questions. And that's when she called me, because Rowena wanted this dream job. So we sat in her kitchen table. Actually, it was her father-in-law's kitchen table. He was on vacation. It was a good meetup place. And we started practicing. And I would ask her questions that she is likely to receive in that job interview. And she added more words and more words and more words, and it wasn't happening. So we had to call a timeout, and I started to introduce her to a method and a framework that you will find in the book, Defining You. It's called Defining Paragraph. How to tell people who you are and what your best work is, and to give them reasons to believe. And as she started to apply this principle, everything started to shift, including her posture. And oh, by the way, we did go a little shopping. We got her an awesome suit. Interesting to note, she was more effective in a skirt and a jacket than she was in pants and a jacket. That'll be another book. She went to the first round of interviews. She qualified. She kept practicing. We had more kitchen table conversations. She got in front of a panel group. She passed that interview. Now she is in the finalists, and now there's a lot at stake. And you know what can happen when you were so close to your dream and those little voices started coming in your head. You're not really all that in a bag of chips. You're not really ready for this job. There's so many other people that could do it. What makes you think you're worthy? But she went back to her defining paragraph, which was her strategic statement about what she was really good at and what she was passionate and committed to doing. And she talked herself in to hiring herself for that job. Rowena got that job, by the way. She is now the dean of the School of Business and Economics at SUNY Plattsburgh University. She is the 9th Hispanic American dean of a U.S. business school. And she was telling me just the other day, come on in, there's room for a lot more. Rowena is a model client for this work. And why is this important? I mean, maybe you already have your dream job, right? Or maybe you are gainfully employed and all is good. that if you don't understand and you can't articulate who you are and what you do and how you help people, you are going to put yourself in a cascade of confusion and chaos that you may never get out of. And I know that because I have personally created that confusion for myself for quite a few years when I started my own business. So defining you is really, I think of it as a blueprint for personal positioning. It gives you a way to understand who you are at a strategic level. And I'm not talking about all these crazy elevator pitch things. You know, who can be the most clever, who can has the greatest little jingle. And what ends up happening when you follow that route, you become unauthentically you. You become what they want to hear. And that's unsustainable. The defining statement, the defining paragraph, the defining story, the 3 tools in this book will help you go in deep to decide what it is that is your best work. Who is your best client? And how to put that out in the world so that you can attract it. Because if you don't understand, nobody else will. This is your personal brand. And you cannot leave your personal brand to chance.